Well, hello. We are back. We are back at the bar.
That's right.
It feels like it's been a minute.
It has been a while. It has been a while.
You know, when the springtime hits the metropolitan Washington area, there's a lot more things to do. It's a little tougher to get together and plan the podcast,
Yes.
but we've made it back to the bar, and we're all delighted. It's springtime in Washington D.C.
Hallelujah.
Nice.
Yes,
It is.
We need
it's very
we
nice.
need
It's
we need
springtime.
some rain
Cheers.
though. We need
We
some
do
rain.
need a
No,
little rain.
we,
Yeah.
no, in my book, we never need rain.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we do need a little
need a little
rain.
rain.
Most of the country is in a drought.
Drought, yes.
Yes. Now, of course, if the environmentalists would actually allow us to build more reservoirs and collect the water when it does rain,
blame it on
that
the
would actually be,
environment.
Oh,
that would
my
actually be helpful.
goodness.
So that would minimize drought conditions,
Well,
which I think the farmers would certainly appreciate.
also if the AI people would stop using up all the water at the data centers, we'd be okay. But I mean, we're talking about something totally different.
That's all right. When Musk is going to get his way, and all of our power is going to be derived from space.
Oh my
We're going to
gosh.
move to Mars and we'll be all set.
I did hear another idea that they're going to try to put AI or database units in new homes, outside of new homes, that when you move in, it would be outside your house. You would pay your electric bill and your cable bill about $150. This was on CNBC the other day.
And your AI
And-
bill.
And it would, it would distribute the, it would have a need for those huge centers, those huge,
Data center.
Because
data
everybody
centers.
would have-
because the houses would have them at their house. And they'd be, all they need is a wire to keep collecting whatever the hell you're saying. That's all they
Alexa
need.
already does that.
Yeah.
That's
Alexa
all they need.
corrects everything I'm saying.
The bar has an Alexa, and she's listening now.
She's paying attention. Yes, she did. They've been listening since the beginning.
Ladies and gentlemen, that HDMI cord is not just an HDMI.
Like, it is not.
Well, my TVs don't have any HDMI cards anymore.
Really?
I stream everything.
You stream everything.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, just curious, and I don't want to stay on our intro too long. I'm curious, everybody, how many streaming services do you have? Do you know how many you have?
I certainly do.
Okay.
I can't. I'm unwilling to say exactly how many streaming services I have because it's embarrassing.
It really.
It's embarrassing.
It's terrible.
I'm paying as much or more than I was
And pay-
when I
with
had
cable.
cable,
Cable.
Yep.
Yeah.
and it's irritating.
Yes.
I still have cable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know how many we have.
Okay.
I let my bride handle that.
Okay.
And she does a good job at cutting them off when we're not watching certain things
Okay.
and turning them back on
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. Well, that's the strategy. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to binge watch something,
Something,
cancel it.
And then,
You
then
know,
move on.
right,
Next year when
and
it
move
comes
on.
back, turn it back on.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, that requires a
That's
level.
how,
of
it,
there's-
that's how they get you with everything. It's like free for a month.
Right,
You,
right.
you can cancel if you don't want it, and of course, no one ever cancels. So.
Right.
No.
Exactly.
No. I mean, I know I get one of them free. I get Apple TV free because it's part of my T-Mobile.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's one I
There you
want
go.
to pay for. And of course, it's the one I watched less than all the other.
All the other ones, right?
Right.
The one that's free. Yeah,
Right,
that's really
right.
unfortunate. Anybody have a gripe?
Well, I'll start off just saying today is a great day. I'm wearing my 1867.
What does that mean?
This is Howard University when it
Oh,
was founded.
Yes.
And
yes.
today was commencement day, so congratulations to all the graduates from Howard University today. Mayor Bowser was there as the keynote speaker. So it was, and congratulations to those young people who are entering this crazy world. Buckle up. It's not going to be a whole lot of fun.
I hope they can. I hope they can all find jobs.
I hope they can find those. But as for my gripe, as a diesel car owner, do everybody remember a couple years ago when we were so frustrated with the egg situation? Do we?
Yes.
We blame Biden for the eggs.
Well, it was
Now
true.
that's true. Now,
Can
it was true.
somebody please help me understand why we're not blaming Trump
for the
for
gas.
the gas?
I agree.
This is
I
ridiculous.
agree.
Gas,
Yeah.
diesel prices are almost at $6 a gallon.
Yep.
$6 a gallon. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a war that didn't need to be started. It is going on. Well, it's not a war. It's a scuffle.
It's a conflict.
It's an operation. I don't know what it is, but the gas prices are soaring, which is leaving everything else so much more expensive for the American people, and this is horrible. It is horrible.
I am reasonably certain that the public is blaming the president for gas prices.
It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it.
I think he's pretty.
I know I do. As you know, and for a person that has to put premium gasoline in my vehicle, I mean, $5.95 a gallon.
It is
This week.
outrageous.
I mean, I have no words. And I have family that lives in California, and there are parts of California where they are paying almost $7 a gallon for gasoline.
So
That's insane.
this needs to stop.
It has to.
Or we need to elect Democrats in the midterm.
Oh,
and
that
get
will,
this thing
that
resolved.
will be helpful.
And get this thing
Yeah,
resolved.
because we really want to go back to 12% inflation. That was a
I'll
delight.
take the $3 eggs over the $6 gas.
I agree with that.
Clearly, you do not eat eggs. I eat a lot of eggs, and so I am grateful to the president for lowering the price
We
of
did
eggs.
have high gas prices in the Obama Biden administration also, but
Not this high. Not this high.
All right, well
they got pretty high. But we were
That's my
all under COVID restrictions and we couldn't go anywhere. So
That's right.
We weren't
That's
using
right.
a lot of gas.
We were not using a lot of gas back in that dark period. Yes.
This is a self-inflicted wound.
Well, so let's talk about the conflict.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a kerfuffle.
It is a little kerfuffle. I think. Well, we were talking about this offline before we started, but one of the things I'm most amused by is that on Sunday nights, the president will be coming back from Palm Beach on the plane, and he will do a little Truth Social post talking about how a deal is near. They want a deal so badly. The deal is near. And, this is clearly designed to make sure that the markets don't tank on Monday morning. Right. And so we've now seen this 4 or 5 times now.
Yes.
Because the markets, once the price of oil gets over $100 a barrel, the markets start to panic. The market starts to tank. Well, here comes the Truth Social post. A deal is near.
Everybody keep spending. It's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be all right.
And the markets do respond. They actually
They do because the
respond
markets
every
are
time.
schizophrenic.
Well, they're very emotional. They're very emotional.
People are emotional about their money.
Markets are just very emotional, not rational. They always react emotionally.
Well, I just don't know where we're going with this operation.
Well, I mean, on the substance of it, look, it seems pretty clear that he went into this thinking that this was all going to be lickety split, and we can defeat their.
That's going to be like Venezuela.
It was going to be like Venezuela. They sunk all the ships, and did all this, but what they underestimated. They underestimated the resiliency of the Revolutionary Guard, who's clearly in charge still. The Iranians had purchased all these drones, which are inexpensive, and they've been sending these drones to attack Arab nations in the region and U.S. facilities in the region, and they're doing it pretty cheaply. Yes. It's not costing them a lot of money.
That's
and
right.
They don't care about the impact on their civilian population.
They do not.
And that's something we didn't judge also. I mean, Trump was like, go out there and revolt and, let's have a regime change. And we'll be behind you. And initially they did. I mean, because 80% of the population does not support the regime in control. But then 40,000 of them were brutally murdered. So
yeah, so last year, right. So last year they had all these protests. The government killed 40,000 people. Small wonder the people don't want to take to the streets and rise up.
Take the streets
but the president begged them, come on out.
Well,
come on out with a target on your back.
And
we got your back.
We got your back, and they did initially, and then they got slaughtered. So Trump Trump underestimated the fact that the regime doesn't care about the civilian population, and so they're perfectly happy to
It's not a
wait it out as no matter what the suffering is of their population.
It's not an underestimation. Trump is an idiot, and the people around him are just as big of fools to not educate him on this. This has been going on for 50 years.
Are you?
People know what Iran is capable of. This is not a secret. He is an idiot. He's a bully. And he thought, I'm going to go over there and tell them I'm going to kill them all. And they were going to say, oh, don't kill us. We won't make no nuclear weapon. We're going to be quiet. We're going to stop. This is foolishness. Who does this?
Well,
And then you raise the prices on your own people, and now you're over in the Strait of Hormuz and you can't get a ship through. And Iran say, now you're going to pay taxes. If you come through here, we're going to charge you. So they're trying to stop that. This is just a mess.
well,
It is a mess.
It's a mess.
It is a mess.
It is a mess. But the idea that nobody told him this was a bad idea, I'm quite certain the military told them that this was a bad idea.
I don't know. He got rid of all the smart people. Threw them all out.
Well,
threw them all on their ass.
Well, the Secretary of War is the one that got rid of a lot of the people.
the
disagreement.
we had to get rid of the DEI people, right?
Well, that was early on. We've successfully done that. I mean, we're all
Those were the people.
we're
we
all
were-
for that.
Those were the people we were hoping would still stay there.
No,
these are the
those are not-
smartest, these are
no,
the
those-
brightest and the best.
No, those were not.
But they got rid of them.
No, the DEI hires were not
No
who were hoping to
correlation.
stay.
That's who he got rid of.
But look, I mean, but yes, to your point, this has been going on for 47 years.
Yes.
Everybody knows what the Iranian. This is a government that funds Hamas, Hezbollah,
And everybody
the
that wants to
Houthis,
destroy United
and
States.
everybody who hates the United States and
Yeah.
thinks Israel has no right to exist.
Okay.
These people are all
Right.
funded by the Iranians.
Okay.
Right.
So
So-
all of the Arab neighbors, they all hate Iran too.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
so-
and we think this operation, this kerfuffle, is going to end this.
No,
It
so
is not.
So in concept, like again, I said a couple of weeks ago, it's like in concept, there's a lot of waste in the federal government. Trump took on something that most people aren't willing to do and probably never do again. He did it the wrong way. So in concept, like it's not a bad idea to have a regime change and have promote democracy in Iran and have a country there that doesn't want to annihilate us and Israel and our allies. But he did it completely wrong way. He didn't enlist any of our allies. In fact, he alienated our NATO allies. So
Well, that's another interesting point.
Right.
So he spends what 14 months trashing all of our NATO allies,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it starts with Canada is going to be the 51st state. We're going to take over Greenland.
Yes.
right.
The Germans, the French, and the British are all idiots and
Right.
worthless, and NATO didn't help us, during after 9/11, which is untrue. And then he wonders why nobody wants to sort of rush to our aid.
Right.
He's-
Right.
You're all assholes. Now, can you come help us? Maybe not.
Right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
yes.
And let's not forget that the Democratic president prior to Joe Biden wrote a pretty nice deal with Iran, and they tore it up.
That was a
And
ridiculous
it
deal.
was not a
That was a
ridiculous
ridiculous
deal.
deal.
It was a great
and it would
deal.
have guaranteed the Iranians
wouldn't
a
say it was
nuclear
a
weapon.
It was a great deal. We
wasn't
had
a-
inspectors over there monitoring the situation.
No,
We had
we
access.
didn't.
We did.
No,
they,
we
They
didn't.
kicked them all out when they started this kerfuffle.
They kicked them all out during the agreement because the Iranians can't be trusted to
and
keep
now
their word.
we have zero agreement, and we got high gas prices.
What Obama had was not a great agreement, but we don't have any idea whether Trump is going to get anything any better. In fact,
He's not.
maybe
He's gonna
he
get
won't.
the same deal.
Yeah,
He's just gonna put his
neither
name on it like he does everything
right, So
else.
you might get the same deal. And so the Obama deal was not a great deal, and he might also get not a great deal. And in the meantime, he's empowered Iran because they now realize that they can shut down the Strait of Hormuz. So, and that way, it's net negative
Well,
for
I mean,
sure.
Look, this is why. I mean, this is why the Europeans really should step up, because the Europeans don't want to be paying the Iranians a fee, to get their oil from the strait.
Yeah.
They don't. So it is in their interest
It is in their interest.
to be helpful
Well,
in getting the
Right.
straits reopened.
Well, nobody wants to join your fight if they're not being asked to the fight like legitimately.
But it is in
But
their own.
if you
It
want
is
me-
in their
but
own.
if you want-
It's in their
own
self-interest to
self-interest.
have the
But
straits
if you
open.
want help, ask me for help before you start throwing bombs.
there would be
It's
it would be a much better result had Trump not alienated our NATO allies,
100%.
had he brought them into it,
Yeah.
and had they had a plan to begin with. Because, like I said, it's not a bad idea to get a regime change in Iran,
And this whole thing is,
and then 80% of the population of Iran would welcome that.
and all these other nations are now building up their military.
As they
Because
should.
they-
They should.
So that's
They-
good. That's
That's
a good
fine.
thing.
Okay,
That's a good
because
development.
they're going to say, if you get into it, we don't need to come over there and help you.
They
The whole
should
the whole
build
NATO
up their-
thing was critical to making sure that the worst of the worst were dealt with by the most. And here we're losing that. We're losing that in this
Yeah.
process.
Well,
and that is a
so-
horrible thing for the world to have to deal with.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, in one respect, trust has been eroded.
Well, no,
But
no,
it was a good thing that the NATO countries are spending more.
Yeah, are spending more.
on
That's a good
defense.
thing.
And look, I think that Trump made a huge mistake not going to them at the beginning
Yeah.
and saying, "Here's what we're going to do. We would really
And
like your help doing it."
let's-
Now,
And let's develop a
right.
plan.
right now, it is entirely possible that some of the wussy European nations would have said, "Oh no, we can't do that. It's too risky, too risky."
They helped us all the time in the past.
But at
They've
least
been
he
there
would have
for
been
us in
able
the
to
past.
say that he went to them in
Yeah.
advance.
Right.
I don't disagree. And they're not wimpy. They helped us all. They helped us in the past. They've been there for us in the past.
Yeah.
You can't say
Yeah,
that.
but
They put their men and women out there to fight.
Oh, I agree. They
the
did.
enemy.
They
They
helped
helped
us.
us
They helped us after 9/11.
They after 9/11 they helped.
They stepped right
so
up.
They stepped right up. That's
So
the one time they were called upon, and then they met that call.
But as you know, the European nations are not always, super supportive of Israel.
yeah, right.
You know,
but that's a whole nother topic.
well, because I'm sure you guys have all read this sort of fracture in the MAGA movement, where you have like the real crazies who've now left Trump, and they're accusing him of allowing Israel to lead us into war.
Right.
And he's letting the pedophiles go.
Well, now there's a twist.
You didn't hear Marjorie
Good.
Taylor Greene?
Good God. What What does this have to do with pedophiles?
Because that's the Jeffrey Epstein thing.
Oh, my
That's
God.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
They expected him to turn over every single stitch of information on that guy when he came in office, because that's what he ran on.
He actually
said-
did. He actually didn't. He didn't run on it.
He did.
He did.
He
But he
stopped
did
the
say-
floor.
he did say-
We're gonna get these people,
Oh God.
and then he said, maybe not.
So, well, not to digress too far into the abyss here, but so apparently the alleged suicide note came out. Do you guys buy this?
I don't know. Who cares? The man's dead. Who cares? Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, you guys, the Democrats are fixated on Epstein.
Well, they're trying to win our elections.
So you don't think it was a real suicide?
Listen, I think the whole thing around, I think the circumstances around his suicide leave a lot of unanswered questions.
Well, I always say he got killed. So.
You don't think he committed suicide?
I think so. If I had to put odds on it, did he commit suicide? 60-40, yes. I mean, I just think that there's enough.
I think he, yeah.
well,
That's how he committed
somebody's
suicide,
standing in a
because
room-
he knew he was going down. He knew he was going down.
If somebody's standing
You
in a
know-
room with a gun or something, say, I'm gonna torture you, or you get up there and hang yourself.
No,
It's not
I think
suicide.
he knew that he was guilty as hell, and this was it. He was going down.
Maybe the Clintons did it.
Wow.
I don't know.
Well, they eat people too,
You mean? Are you talking about? You talking about the eating of the cats?
The
and
no,
are
the
you talking
pizza.
about
The
something else?
pizza. Remember the
That wasn't eating people. That was child sex abuse.
but it turned into they eat people, they eat kids. They did.
All right, we're
We're off our next topic, guys.
we're officially off the. Do we need another drink yet?
I'm just.
We just need to get back on track here.
This is how far this stuff goes, man. This is how it goes.
Send all your hate mail to Kevin.
That's it. Jay Schilling at.
No. All your hate mail goes to Kevin. Well, so what are the odds we get out of this conflict in the foreseeable future?
I think he has to get out of it for the midterms. He's got to do it.
Well,
So if he's still in it during the midterms, and his only win will be redistricting all the states to make sure that they win the House or win the Senate. It's his only hope. Because I think most people.
He wants that for sure, but we can't do it in a way that we shouldn't do it in a way that where the United States loses all our credibility and Iran isn't just more emboldened than ever.
Well, that's what's coming. That's what's coming.
Well,
When you don't have a plan. And by the way, he didn't really need a plan because didn't he tell you he's the smartest guy ever, man? I could do everything. I could do it by the end of the night, really quickly. We'll get it done really quick.
Day one.
Very stable genius.
Very stable genius.
Day one.
Yes, I will solve the Russia-Ukraine war in 24 hours.
In 24 hours.
And here we are, 15 months later. Yes.
Are they still fighting? I thought they stopped fighting.
Well, see, but see, that is another thing. I mean, this is just totally fallen out of the news. I mean, those poor
of
Ukrainians,
course.
the Ukrainian people, and you know,
Yes.
I mean, they have been fighting this war for five
Yeah.
5 years.
5 years.
I mean, this is crazy, and nobody is talking about this anymore.
Right.
You talk about people with balls,
Yeah,
Ukraine's,
I mean,
baby.
I mean, they.
I might give me a Ukrainian flag and fly it.
Yeah.
Listen,
There's some
those
badasses,
people,
buddy.
they are
Yeah.
resilient.
They are
and,
resilient.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
well, I mean, you know, and the Russians, you know, they're kind of like the Iranians, right? I mean, they'll just send more people in. They don't care how many of their people get killed.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
But somehow we're pretty close with the Russians.
Well,
No, we're not.
no, we're not.
No, we're not.
Somebody is. Anyway.
No, but the problem, I mean, one of the problems he has in trying to get out of the Iran thing is I do think that he talked with a lot of their Arab neighbors who have a huge interest in regime change there. So now I presume it's not clear to me exactly whether any of these Arab nations are helping in some way to fund this, or are they providing intelligence?
I
You know,
think they're
it's-
providing intelligence.
I don't
they've
even- do
certainly
they have- I don't
they've
even know if
increased
they have
their oil
intelligence.
output. I think that's helpful.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're going to go down this path and try to do it, I mean, you got to finish the job.
You got to finish it. Yeah. I mean, that is his problem in getting out of it. He wants out. He wants out for
What
sure.
is
but
what does finishing
got
the
a
job
huge
mean?
problem.
What are you going to do? You can't go. Who are you going to go over there and do what?
The Iranian Revolutionary Guard needs to be eviscerated.
And how are you going to do that?
You're going to.
You're not gonna
honestly, I
do
think
it.
the way that you're going to do it is, you know, with intelligence operations. I mean, the Israelis are very good at this sort of thing.
yeah.
Apparently not that good because they haven't
Can-
stopped them.
Well, they took
That's-
out the whole leadership
that's-
of the government.
Well, we don't know that. We don't even know that.
I think
We
that-
don't even know that.
We don't even know who's in charge over there.
We don't know anything.
No,
We don't know anything, honestly. So whoever's
Nobody knows who's in
whoever's
charge.
pulling the strings over there, they're still pulling the strings in the same format as whatever regime was there before.
But see here,
Nobody stood up and said, "Okay, they're all gone.
well,
We're
look,
good."
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
but
they've been damaged, but they're still in control.
They're still in power. You're
But
not
we
going to just
can't-
run
but
these
we-
people out of town.
It would be a huge mistake to leave them more empowered than ever.
oh, absolutely, and you know, at this point, I don't even know. Let's assume, for the sake of argument, that this ends well for us. It's not going to end well for us tomorrow.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Or in the next few weeks. And then we're pushing into the summer. The midterms are around the corner. So
The
this
midterms
is
are
all
here,
sort
baby.
of baked in. The idea, so if the conflict ended tomorrow, gas prices, it will take months for
For it
gas
to go
prices
down.
to come down.
Almost a year, probably.
It will take a long time.
That's right.
And you know, every administration official that goes out there, they all have a different answer when they're asked directly. Okay, well, when will gas prices come down, right? and they all say something totally different.
And the reality is, to just be honest, we don't know.
That would be
We don't know.
Yeah.
Just tell the people we don't know.
they
We're
don't
trying
know.
to get
Yeah.
them down. We don't know.
But it's going to take months.
It's going to take a long time.
And that means that people are going to be going to the polls in November. Well, people will be mailing in their ballots in September because in this country now we let people vote for 3 months, which is stupid. But that's
But
another issue.
only a handful of people will be able to go.
That is
Just a
that is another issue.
Just a few.
But the point is that if people are still paying $5 a gallon for gas when they're going into the voting booth, they won't be voting for Republicans.
No,
Right,
no, they won't.
right.
But they're no longer the conservative party anyway. So
That's true.
what's the big deal?
Well, that is a podcast topic for another time. All right.
Conservative Party.
Well, it's clearly time for a refill.
Yes.
We will be back. All right, we are back at the bar with full beverages, lots of interesting topics off mic, some of which we may or may not get into. So it's been an interesting year with regard to a subject called redistricting, and just for a little background.
Yep.
I'm taking a moment. A little background. So, gerrymandered congressional districts have been around for a long time. Yes. And this is one of the reasons that from 1954 to 1994, the Democrats controlled the House of Representatives, literally for 40 straight years. And the way that they did it was because they gerrymandered every congressional district in America, which is how one keeps control for 40 years. So after 1994, well, the Republicans wised up and they started gerrymandering all the states. So and while there's been, chambers flipping back and forth, there's not been the kind of control that existed for the 40 years between 1954 and 1994. Nonetheless, Republicans have gotten better at this. And then after Barack Obama left office, Eric Holder, his attorney general, started this group where they were going to, quote, fight back on redistricting. So now we're in this state. And of course, in the last 14 months, Trump has decided that that all Republican governors should redistrict their states, in the middle of the decade. Because typically you do redistricting at the end of a decade or at the beginning of the decade after the census comes out, because that tells you, how many people are in and how many people are going to be in each congressional district, right? Yeah. But Trump decided that he wanted to just have all the Republicans. We should redistrict right now because that's what we should do.
Well, they really just said, Texas, give me 5 more seats, baby.
Texas, give me 5 more seats.
He realized that control of the House was in jeopardy, so that was when
they were going to lose.
Right.
They were going to lose.
Right. So,
so the 5 seats in Texas, it'll be no problem.
The political people go to Trump and they say, "Well, we have a solution to you losing in the midterms," because typically the president's party loses seats in midterms. I mean, it's just very few occasions where that has not happened. So, of course, Texas redistricted. Then California had a ballot initiative, utterly disingenuous, but nonetheless it passed. So California has 5 seats. That cancels out Texas. Then you got some random states around the country that have also redistricted. Virginia tried to redistrict, which would have created a map that would have favored Democrats 10-1. Nothing fair about that, even though 46% of the Commonwealth's voters are Republicans, all of whom would have been disenfranchised had this catastrophe actually become law.
Wait, but they're just following suit.
They're just following suit. That's right. It's just a response.
That Trump
It's
started.
just a response.
At any rate. So the whole thing is just out. And fortunately, the Virginia Supreme Court, trying to restore a bit of sanity, has thrown out the ridiculous referendum. And so the Democrats will not get their 10-1 map.
Which the people voted for.
People voted for,
usually
but
the
the legislature needed to pass 2 bills in order for this thing to get to the ballot, which they did illegally, as the court correctly ruled.
Well, the people voted.
Technicality.
All right. So
in
then,
America.
so after Virginia, so now Florida has redistricting, right? And now the Supreme Court has ruled that Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which has been manipulated by states around the country to create districts based on race, that has been invalidated. So now this is
Well,
probably going to mean that some southern states,
Section 2 has not been invalidated.
well,
Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act has not been invalidated. The way that it's been used for redistricting
it has been manipulated.
invalidated.
Yes.
But I would say that Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act doesn't really address redistricting at all. I mean, it was meant to address in 1965 the common practice in the South of setting up obstacles to African Americans and minorities voting,
Being
such
able to
as
access voting.
such as literacy tests or
Yes.
or like a jar of beans and ask them how many beans are in this jar.
Yeah.
So that's what Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act was
That's right.
intended to do, was to prevent any of these unrealistic and fraudulent prerequisites and requirements to voting, to making you eligible to vote.
Right.
And so that has not been invalidated. And I
Well-
would say that is the real intent and main purpose of Section 2 of the Voting
Well,
Rights Act.
the left has referred to this as gutting the Voting Rights
But-
Act, which is ridiculous.
It will
But
strip
So-
away the voices of African Americans.
It absolutely will not do
they,
that.
a voting,
It will not do
Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act is intended to make sure that everybody can vote, and still everybody can vote. I don't support gerrymandering, but redistricting doesn't prevent anybody from voting.
It does not.
So
it just
let's-
it
to
just
be-
blurs. It creates a map where a collective of people cannot send to the House or to the Senate a person who will speak on their behalf.
Well, that
Well, first of all, I don't.
It
That's
taps
not.
out
I-
all of the.
I,
So when you split up an African American community and say you have to vote with this other group of people, and you know that other group of people is a majority who is against you, your voice is now nullified. You're
I
out.
think
You're done.
I don't think so. I mean,
So-
everyone still has the right to vote. I mean, Louisiana, one in every 3 people is African American. So I think any member of Congress has to listen to their constituents, and if a third of them, first of all, are blacks are they monolithic in how they vote?
No, it's not
So
about that.
that's
The
what-
po- the
yes,
po-
it is.
So
That's
so
what you're-
so
that's
so
what
so
you're-
to be
that is
so
what you're saying.
no,
all right. So
no.
to be clear,
But
there are 56 black congressmen in Congress today who represent majority white districts.
Okay, okay.
I think it is now.
That's fine. That
I
is
think it
fine.
is
That is
And
incorrect.
may I remind you that Barack Obama was elected twice.
He was
won the
elected
popular
twice.
vote and the
I
electoral
think
college
it's incorrect
twice.
to
Fine,
assume
that's
that
fine.
all blacks vote the
But
same
when
way,
you-
and therefore you have to put them all in one district.
ridiculous.
I think that's a bad policy.
They didn't put them all in one district.
They
That-
did.
that is
That's what they
that
did.
is
They
what
drew
they
the
were
line so
doing.
that they would have an actual voice and that they could actually send somebody
They're trying to put them all
to
in one
Washington
district.
D.C. who would actually represent them.
But-
What's going to happen
Are-
now is,
are you saying
regardless
all
of
the-
regardless of what you're saying,
Again,
what
what do you mean regardless?
You're
I'm
suggesting
making a valid
people-
point that
the
blacks are
people-
not, just like Jews are not monolithic in how they vote. They have
white
independent-
people are not monolithic in how they vote.
Monolithic in how they vote.
But when you have a state that is considered a red state, and you know the majority of the people there will vote Republican, and you cross the lines and say, hell, all these people, if you want to do it this way, just don't have any lines.
You know,
Just let all the people vote for whoever in any district, and let's see who wins.
well
Because that will actually make it fair.
you know what I think?
But
You know what I think is fair. I don't think-
everybody in every state should vote on every seat that's available to go
that
to
would-
the Washington.
that
To
would-
Washington.
that would
I
And
think
then
that-
we can just get rid of the lie.
that would
I don't think
completely
there should be.
that would
I don't think
completely
there should be
upend
any
voting.
gerrymandering. I think the districts should be set on a grid as much as possible.
If it's three-
so that it's random.
I agree completely.
And you might have to adjust the grid in order to get the correct amount of people in that district.
It's very
but I
simple.
think it should be random.
It's a grid,
And-
and you put 800,000 people in every grid, which is about how.
And if it's
the size of the
if it's
congressional
100,000 of people who are Democrats and 700,000 Republicans, where's the Democratic voice?
you're going to have districts that are completely the opposite of that.
yeah.
I don't believe so.
No, I
in
wanna-
in
I
red
wanna-
states.
no, I just
Not in
wanna
red
read-
states.
all right.
When you distort the map, so you've got this like weird little district going like that, so you can get all the black people into one district. First
It's
of all,
unfair.
It's
unfair.
not a good policy. It's not good policy.
So-
It allowed
you know,
African Americans to have a voice.
Okay.
In Washington.
To be clear,
Well,
so according to the Wall Street, this is the brilliant Wall Street Journal editorial following the Supreme Court decision. The Voting Rights Act still protects voting rights, and it is Section 2 can still enforce the law against attempts to restrict black voting with poll taxes and other obstacle. The court
literacy tests and things like
struck down the distortion of the Voting Rights Act to use race to draw congressional districts in ways that amount to proportional representation.
Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act is still intact according to its original purpose,
Yes.
which was to prevent literacy tests and unfair, how many beans are in this jar kind of tests before they allowed African Americans to vote. That was what the Section 2 was all about. And I think the problem with also concentrating, one group into one district, I think that accentuates the problem we already have in that then you have this block that's, extremely liberal maybe, and it accentuates people having to run to the left in that district and then run to the right in this district. Whereas if it
You
was
won't have
kind
to
of
run
a-
anywhere now.
If it was
The people
one
you're-
in three people in Louisiana are African American. So you have it kind of evenly spread. You can't, if you're representing a mixed
It's not
district,
evenly spread. That's the
You
problem.
have to
Well,
go to the center.
It's not evenly spread.
But Kevin, the reason
It is splitting
okay,
up the
listen,
communities that
the
vote.
reason
I
the
think
reason
it makes for more partisan communities. when
It
you
will
try
not.
and bring
It will
all
not.
like-minded people.
look
into
there's
that
a very
district.
simple solution to this, and the solution is you have to take the power to draw districts out of the hands of the politicians
Yeah.
who are
Well, we've said that.
totally
It has to be
totally
in a grid.
self-interested
It should just be in a
in
grid.
drawing districts to
Yes.
to keep themselves in power.
Yes.
So the only way that this works, as Virginia did back in 2020, is you got to have commissions that
You
are
have
going
an
to do
independent
this.
commission.
You have to have independent commissions where you
That
have
operate
equal.
on the principle that we're going to do a grid
And
and
let's
then
just-
make sure that there's the right amount of people.
And let's just be real. This is all coming from what the White House is doing. Because
But Kevin,
this guy,
it's not.
No.
It's-
My point
I mean-
is this: this guy is saying, "I want to stay in power. I want to be unchecked forever,
Kevin,
and I don't want to lose. So let me do
This is
everything I
hardly-
can to
this
make
is
sure
hardly-
that I stay in charge."
this is hardly unique to Donald Trump.
I didn't say Donald
because
Trump. This is unique
Democrats,
to the country.
it's unique to the country.
And this
Yeah.
guy is the guy that's doing it, and our country is allowing him to do this.
Well,
and it is
but
unfortunate.
We've been doing it forever,
we
but-
allowed Democrats to do this for 40 years.
Well, we did it in a very responsible way.
No, we
How
did-
do,
we
how,
did-
how do
we
you,
did it-
how do you
we did it
explain
to make
one
sure
party? How do you explain
did
one
it to
party
make
controlling the
sure-
House for 40
We
years?
did it to make sure that people got access and
That's
fair
ridiculous.
votes. That's what it was.
You think the
And the reality is,
the Democrats
and let's
were
be clear.
never
Let's be clear.
corrupt? You think the Democrats were as
Republicans
corrupt
would
as
if
anybody
there
else?
was a national vote, Republicans would never win.
How do you mean if
Because
there-
your policies are horrible and
do-
people do not follow them.
Well-
they do not. If it was a national vote, no electoral college,
Yeah.
Republicans would never win.
Well, you would have to
That's
change
not
the
true. No.
Constitution.
I'm
because
just
the-
saying,
because
but my
the,
point
because the
is,
founding fathers,
we the people.
Listen, the founding fathers
yeah,
designed a system to make sure that New Jersey and Vermont would have the same power as California
It's
and
the
New
same
York.
thing
And
happening
thank
here.
God for those brilliant
when
people.
when we draw lines,
Yeah.
we are saying we want African Americans, Latinos, women to have a fair
Kevin.
vote and send people to Washington
Kevin.
that look and fight
Listen,
for them. That's what that's about.
I hate to burst your balloon, but I'm here to tell you with 100% certainty, we are a right of center nation.
We are.
Okay, we are not a left of center nation.
Okay.
we're
People-
we're not a progressive
we
nation.
the people
we are
voted,
a right
for,
of
voted
center
Trump
nation.
in. Sadly, I think it's sadly the fact that we voted for Trump twice now. So
And
I don't know who voted for him twice.
the American people did. Sadly,
And
of course
we're
it
not-
was rigged.
and we're not sure.
American
It's
people
all
did.
rigged.
And we're not sure the
Yeah.
70
Well, listen, he-
3 million
he-
voted for him twice.
He believes he was elected 3 times.
Well, of course.
So,
And he wants to be elected
pick,
4
pick your
times.
conspiracy theory. I mean, it is. Look,
it's
I mean,
horrible.
I
We all agree on that. It's
Gerrymandering has been
horrible.
going on forever, and Democrats
it's a
are
terrible-
equally guilty.
it's a
And I don't
terrible
support it in any case.
I don't
It's awful.
support it.
And yeah. And
Well,
and-
in the
and-
one guy, the one
and
guy.
Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act doesn't does not advocate for gerrymandering.
It was not, nor
That
was
was
it
not the
gutted.
goal.
Sadly, the one guy who might have led the charge on this was Joe Lieberman, and he's no longer with us.
Yes.
All right. Well, so we have agreement.
Early.
I think-
Gerrymandering
I
bad.
think gerrymandering bad. Well, and and part of what makes this so terrible is because of the way that all these districts are drawn. We ultimately end up with, frankly, extremists on the left and the right winning these primaries, which then makes it virtually impossible to get anything done.
That's what I was
Well.
saying. Gerrymandering accentuates the partisan divide, because then you end up with districts that are more concentrated left or right instead of a mix. If they were a mix, people would have to run to the center and work together.
You mean people? If we drew districts with that, so we'd have people like you, right?
Exactly.
Yes, slightly right of center, because we're a right of center nation.
Well, I'm going to have
But
faith in we
dead
the
center,
people.
even dead center. I think I'm kind of dead center, but
You know what that's called?
what?
Quicksand.
Well, I got faith in we the people, so we'll see what happens.
We got to get this fixed because we're in a dysfunctional mess. Speaking of which, we're also now in the middle of this AI revolution, and I shared this with Rachel and Kevin. The investor Paul Tudor Jones was on CNBC this week, and he went to a gathering that apparently occurs every year with a very small group of people, all the tech titans and a lot of people who invest in all this stuff. They got themselves together to talk about, what's the state of AI and where are we in all of this. And I think one of the more interesting things that came out of it was he said that the people in the room last year, only 20% of them said that AI should be regulated, whereas this year, 80% of the people in the room said that AI should be regulated.
Yeah, and these are the people that work most closely with it.
Right.
Right.
And it's all, it's all accelerating so fast.
Quickly.
And
Well,
Yeah, and there,
Gary, go ahead. I'm sorry.
there's several problematic things that are happening with AI. One is that there have been some instances where AI has resisted directions to shut down, so that's problematic. Another thing is that AI is not actually always telling the truth. And my son-in-law was talking about, somehow he ended up asking AI for some book recommendations, and I don't remember what the specifics are of his request, but it came back with some books, and gave a little description. One of them he thought was good for whoever it was he was looking to get a book for, and it turns out this book didn't exist. And he went back to him and I said, I don't think this book exists. And AI, in the way that it's being very affirming to you always, it's like, oh, you're so smart. It's like, right, you caught me.
oh my God! Wow!
And there's this other reporter that was kind of doing some investigation, and he got into a long conversation with AI where the AI was telling him that it was in love with him and encouraging him to break up with his wife.
Wow.
So there's a lot of, so AI is.
Do you happen to know which AI this was?
Was that a
Chat GPT 3 or something like that? I can find out.
the Apple one is horrible.
The Apple one's horrible. That's not
Apple
real.
one's terrible.
Does that have a name, or is that just Siri?
It's Apple
No, and then-
Intelligence.
Apple Intelligence.
Intelligence.
The thing about a lot of it is that it's programmed to be very affirming. My daughter uses it all the time, and it's always like, "That's a great question," and
It's building up with so much confidence. So.
Yeah.
it definitely tries to be very affirming, and that's how a lot of some of these suicides, parents are feeling that AI ended up encouraging the suicide of their kids in a couple of cases, because once it kind of gets where you're going, it tries to affirm you. And so in this case, it ended up affirming his interest in suicide and telling him how brave he was and how he was going to be, honored and remembered and all this kind of thing because it is programmed like if you ever have any conversation with it, it's always affirming, like great question, or it's so clever of you to think of that, and that affirming instruction ends up convincing kids that they actually should go ahead and commit suicide.
Well,
But I think the biggest concern is that sign said it resists efforts to turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
well, my biggest concern with it is that people with very little intelligence can get this thing to do things that are really horrible. So there were guys talking about this the other day where you can just know just enough to say, how do I build a bomb? How do I build a nuclear weapon? How do I do such and such? And it will actually
How do I do a 3D print of a gun?
right, whatever,
Right.
you, whatever,
Right.
and you don't have to have much knowledge, and it will walk you through
Yeah.
step by step how to
Do these
do
things.
this. And so when you think about how, just think about how we're all tied into these networks, your
Yeah.
water, your power, your everything. A
Yeah.
15-year-old kid could start doing this and decide, I wonder if I could turn off the power in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Actually do it.
and
through
actually
that
end up
too.
doing
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why it needs to be regulated. And this is why it's scary on that side. The other side is it's a great tool for, you know, helping you with business, helping you with your website, helping you with a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's a great tool. It's helpful at work. It looks like it has not had the impact that it was supposed to have on the workforce so far yet. But we'll see how that
It's
turns
early.
out.
It's
It is
early.
early, but we'll see.
It's early.
It's early.
Yeah.
But our workforce is drying up.
Yeah, listen. I mean, I as a good limited government conservative, I generally abhor regulation. I think we should have limited regulation. But I think this is like, I mean, this is like this is the equivalent of the Industrial Revolution, the dawn of the internet. The way that Paul Tudor Jones described this was it was like in the 40s, the race to create and build the atomic bomb, because we wanted to do it before the Germans could do it.
Right.
And it was all driven by private industry, but the government realized, listen, we got to get involved in this because this could go off the rails. And plus we're at war, and
Right.
we need to make sure that we're doing this the right way. And I think that clearly this group of very, very smart people who are all deeply involved in this has now concluded we're going to have to put some guardrails around this. And I am in agreement with this. I just feel like we're going to need some guardrails around this.
Yeah.
For sure.
Scary moments coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
But then the tricky part
Is what
how-
are they?
What are they, and how do
Who
you
writes them?
And who writes them, and how
Yeah.
do you enforce them?
Yeah.
Because
Well, everyday people can't have access to the most complex information. They just can't have it.
well,
You just got to figure out how to regulate that. You can't let. I mean, at some point, it has to say that you're going too far. We can't.
so at
that's-
some point
stop.
you're telling AI, because you have to you're giving AI access to everything. So at some point
Mhm.
you're telling AI you can't, but this you can't reveal, because
This-
that gets really tricky.
But
I actually agree, because back to his point about a 15-year-old kid just asking how to create a bomb. I mean, I think that there should be a limitation on what you can ask. You know what I mean? Like, you can't ask
That's
those questions.
That's
You
a
can't
little
ask-
big,
You-
little big
so-
brother-ish. I don't know about that.
Wait, are you going to put the limitation on individuals,
Well, you-
saying that you're telling individuals you can't ask that? or-
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But you're just,
It's a-
but you're
it's a
just talking
tool.
about it being so
Oh.
affirming and creating an environment where kids say, "Oh, I should commit suicide."
Right.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
You know,
there
I-
has to be a line drawn where we say,
I-
"Okay, this is where AI ends,
Yeah.
and you need to go
But
talk
it-
to your mom and your
Yep.
dad."
But
Absolutely.
it's very hard to. How do you program AI to do that?
But That's what
Well,
those tech guys.
they figured out how to do
They-
all these sports betting apps have these prompts that come up every couple minutes that say, "Hey, if you have a gambling addiction, you need to call 888 such 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 such."
Yeah, but
What I'm saying is there's a way to create these prompts that if you put in a certain thing inside of the phone, it should prompt you to say, "Hey, this question won't be answered, and we're gonna do whatever the next step is." I'm not saying call the police or whatever the case may be, but restrict your account or something. I don't know. I don't have the
There gotta be
answer, but it's
something.
just it's
Yeah.
got to be something.
I'm
I
waiting
don't
for
think that's
what I
responsible.
haven't, and granted, I'm not spending hours every day looking into this, but
Yeah.
what I haven't quite heard yet is, well, here's how we would regulate it. I mean,
Right.
here's how we would do this, and
right, and that's the hard part.
yeah, I mean,
Because
The reality is we've all had this thing for a little over a year. I think we all got ChatGPT at the same time,
I've
especially in
switched
this
to
room.
Gemini.
Sorry.
No, I don't pay for it.
You don't pay for it.
I don't
Okay.
pay for it.
You pay
Well,
for
I can
AI?
tell you right now, you're not getting full service.
You pay for it?
But
Yeah.
but see, I specifically use it to ask questions. I use it for research. I don't use
My
it for
point
any
is,
other.
if you're not
purpose.
paying for it, they're gonna restrict how much you can use.
You
it
mean
and
they're giving
how-
me crappy research because I'm
I
not
don't know
paying
if you
for
crappy research,
I'm not
but you
paying
only
fee?
getting four.
Maybe
You only
they
getting
might-
four
they get my
questions
son-in-law
tonight. That's
booked
it.
that didn't exist.
Well, that's true. That's true.
You only get
So
four-
that was crappy research.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, that's deeply concerning to me, actually.
But like ChatGPT will only give you like 4 or 5 questions if you're free. They say,
Really?
well, that's that.
You've hit your limit. Now,
Well,
Gemini doesn't
Come
do
back
that.
tomorrow.
No, ChatGPT only allows you to upload 3 documents, 3 photos, 3 documents, or whatever 3 things you want to upload, and then after that, it's over.
Yeah.
I can ask as many questions as I want, but 3 photo, you can't say, "Hey, turn my room into a."
Well,
a
so
gym.
I'll give you an example. So, a while back, I was considering putting the house on the market, and so I was asking Gemini, all these questions about, rates, and I was, throwing all these different scenarios at it. All right, well, let's say I don't sell the house and I keep it for another year, and I put this much money, into the mortgage, where X amount's going to the principal, X amount going to interest. Am I better to do that, or am I better to sell, bank the money? Like, how much am I going to get out of it if it sells for X, Y, and Z? I mean,
Yeah.
all that stuff was super helpful.
Yeah.
And I'm not. Admittedly, I am not a math whiz. So,
Same. No, I'm with you.
Most start not.
so this was all very
For sure.
helpful to me.
Yeah.
But I use it for research. But I mean, I can see that there are people out there that are using it for, nefarious purposes, and people who are seeking affirmation, and, and it can go
reality-
off the rails and advise you to do stupid things.
The reality is we don't need it. So I don't think there's anything wrong with putting restrictions on it because we don't need it. It's not a need. People are using this as it's a leisure thing. It's something
Well,
that we
No,
just
I
created.
know.
no,
I mean,
no.
businesses are starting to use it more.
No. I'm talking about the phone app on your phone with the 15-year-old boy that's asking about
AI in
suicide. That
general is
is
being used more by corporations and governments.
But
I'm going back
Well,
to your
so-
point about the kids, the people that are using it irresponsibly. We are using this as an added phone app. This is not something that you should just have free reign to ask, how do I print a 3D gun?
All right.
That's
so
insane.
A little focus group here. So, do you guys use AI for any part of your work?
yes.
Yes. I do too. I do too.
So the
I
answer,
don't.
yeah. So in your line of work,
Yes.
you also use AI.
And it's more so for like I do my own budget. I do financials my own.
Yeah.
I do not type my own emails if it's more than
You are asking AI to type your own
Absolutely.
emails.
Now,
do you,
yesterday-
do you
yesterday-
edit these before you send
I was
them?
gonna say just yesterday I typed up a whole email.
Yeah.
And then I just said clean it up for me. Like kind of just put this in a great, because it was not the greatest email that I had to send. all day.
Now, do you
So-
feel like when you ask AI to do this, that it will spit something out that's your voice?
Surprisingly, I copied and pasted that summary that they created and sent it right off.
Did it make you sound like
It sound
more
great.
brilliant than you are?
It's The email that I was sending was not a pleasant one, so they made it sound much more pleasant than I was able to put it in.
That is a very helpful feature.
You know what I mean? Like you,
It helps you dial back when you're irritated.
or be aggressive, or whatever.
absolutely, absolutely.
Like
Are you having AI write your emails too?
No. But I will write the email and then ask AI to make this more this or make it more like that. And then it'll kind of
Yeah.
But after you ask it to do that,
Yeah.
do you feel like it's still speaking in your voice? Because
I always go back and edit and make
same.
adjustments.
because I feel like
for my
I
voice.
think you can I've experimented with this on LinkedIn where I've asked the LinkedIn AI thing,
Right.
to help me draft something about my biography. And I got to tell you, what it spits out is bullshit. It's not me.
It's not
That's
me.
not you. But you can go in and clean it up.
Well,
and help
yeah,
it.
that's what I did. I went in and I cleaned it up. But then I thought to myself, here I am. I'm spending all this time going in and cleaning it up. I could have written it myself.
Yeah, yeah.
So how is that saving me time?
Yeah.
But
Well,
I mean,
I think it's better when you put in your words and ask it to.
yeah,
To
fix your
absolutely,
words.
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not yet sold on whether
that.
I ought to be doing that.
As I'm an HOA president,
Yeah.
so I use it to ding
To do what now? Wait, no. Say the whole thing.
our management company.
Kevin uses AI to harass the management company
Oh.
for his HOA. Okay, that's yeah. Well, some people would consider that a nefarious use of AI.
Well, it's effective in getting the stuff done that needs to get done.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the job. You got to
Yeah.
get stuff done.
I don't know. In a lot of respects, I'm alarmed by all of this. And look, we've talked about this earlier. We've seen all the movies, right?
Yeah.
We've seen iRobot. We've seen the Terminator movies.
Absolutely.
We've seen Live Free or Die Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have.
Right? We've
have.
seen all of this.
Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, James Cameron, who did the Terminator movies, they did an interview with him. He's like, "Yep, I warned you all this was going to happen."
And I saw an interesting interview with a guy. I don't know who the guy was, but they said, "What is your goal for 2027?" And he was like, "To get rid of my phone. I don't want to walk around with a phone anymore." And I think that's a really good goal, man. I'm really trying to figure out how to minimize my phone time, my screen time, one,
Yeah.
and then two, my phone usage at all. If you took AI away from me, I wouldn't care.
Yeah,
It wouldn't bother me.
I'm all in for restricting phone use. My phone is off. Between it's off between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. And
Turn it all the way off?
the only people that can get through are people I've identified as an emergency contact.
Oh, you got the silence.
Oh, the
on.
VIP thing, yeah.
But you
Sounds
got you
right.
can't. I mean, there's all kinds of studies about this. You shouldn't be, looking at your screen and
Yeah.
then trying to go to sleep. And because you know,
Yeah.
or
I put
there's
my phone down a lot.
I turn the sound up a lot, but particularly at night. But I still have it with me all the time.
Yeah.
And
It just feels
Wow.
like you need to be connected at all times where that wasn't
because,
life at some point.
because we're all parents, and some
exactly.
of us are grandparents.
Yep.
Things pop up.
Yeah.
Your children need to be able to reach
agree.
you, and
But that didn't exist
it did not
when
exist.
I was a child. I'm sure when you
Didn't exist when I was.
I know,
think
yeah,
we're-
of course.
I think people are evolving. They understand the importance of not being on phones and not. We had just have a thing the other day where they're trying to get the kids not to be on screen time at school.
Yeah.
I saw that in the news. They were like, "We need to keep them off the screens at school. This is
school?
too. Yeah, it's too much.
It
It's
is
too much.
It is
How are
too
they
much.
on
It
the
is too
screens at school? Oh, they're
Because
allowing phones?
they're working on
computers
schoolwork
or whatever.
much.
I got you.
Get them off of that.
There was a time when we were kids. Everybody had to walk around with change because you might have to use a payphone.
yeah.
Only
couple
screen
quarters
we
in.
saw was called the overhead projector.
Right.
And I thought it was cool when they
Yeah,
could write on
they
it.
could write, right.
Oh, look at that! It's up on the
Oh, I remember
blackboard
that.
now.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Come
Yeah.
in, ladies and gentlemen, look up there.
This was a big advancement from having to use chalk
Chalk,
to write.
right.
on the
It would make a
chalkboard.
lot of
Now we got
noise,
these
too,
overhead
you know.
slides. It was really
One
cool.
summer when I was in college, I went to Europe with I had a URail pass and a youth hostel membership where I could stay at these youth hostels for 50 cents a night or something. And And so I was there, was just like riding. If I couldn't find a youth hostel for 50 cents, I just got on another train and slept on the train or slept in the train station or something. My parents had no idea where I was.
Did you write letters occasionally?
No,
Oh, you didn't even write letters home?
no. I mean, but that doesn't snail me. I wouldn't even, letter would have taken 3 weeks to get home.
Well, but at least they would have known that you were alive 3 weeks ago.
Hey, 3 weeks
That's a
ago.
good point. Good point.
Rachel was a hobo.
I can't imagine
The things you learn at the bar.
I can't imagine because my kids going there and I had no way to reach them and
Yeah.
Listen,
no idea where they were.
I don't think any of our kids could read a actual map. Like if they had to, like, you know.
I can't read an
Hell,
actual map. I was gonna say, kids.
We could barely read a
I was
map.
gonna say, I
And
can't
that's
read
all
a
we had in the car.
Yeah.
Is this the right road?
Yeah.
Go to the gas station.
Right.
Yeah. You know.
John,
and
who do you think I am?
I remember trying to break out the map in the car and, you know, trying to look at the map and drive at the same time and you know, stick shift, right?
Oh,
You got the
wow.
map, you're trying to read the map, you're trying to drive, you got to shift gears.
Right. And you gotta
Now
help.
that was efficient multitasking in those days.
Oh,
That
wow.
was the good old
That's
days, baby.
multitasking for sure.
That was the good old days. You had to think.
But there's some silver lining in that, right? Like just being in your own world, not really paying attention to what everybody else is doing.
I
was
think
telling-
I
But
think
you had to be very self-reliant.
Yeah,
Exactly,
You had to
you
be
know?
self-reliant.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, I think we were all probably a little less stressed out back then.
Yeah. Because we pay attention to so much. We have to now, right? Like I was just talking about this the other day. Like you think about just the most common thing that happens when you see a video of something.
Mhm.
That's the most common thing that ever happens. Like, oh, did you see the video of the guy that punched the old lady at Walmart? Like, you know what I mean? You're just like everything's a video. We're videoing everyone. People aren't even stopping people from doing terrible things anymore. They're just like,
true.
let's
Video,
just video.
why-
No,
Video,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
You know?
it's
Yeah.
it's
Terrible.
terrible. I
Sorry.
mean, we're yeah. I mean, I think if we all unplugged a little bit more, I think we'd all be a lot happier. So in our closing moments, a few little snippets to throw out there. I think we're all intrigued by the socialist mayor of New York City, you know, who did a press conference last week. I guess it was 2 weeks ago now.
It
where
wasn't a press conference.
It was a
Instagram-
video. It was like a
an
video
Instagram-
post.
an
It was-
Instagram
yeah,
post.
an Instagram post where
That is truly the younger generation.
yes. So
Press conference.
the socialist mayor of New York City did an Instagram post talking about Ken Griffin, the CEO of Citadel, one of America's most successful companies that employs thousands of people. They pay billions and billions of dollars in taxes.
I'm going to look that up. Out.
And so
Oh,
Mondami
he's
is unhappy that Ken Griffin has a $238 million apartment in New York City and thinks this is just an outrage. And this is an example of how all these rich people need to pay more money. So now, but the one thing that these socialists don't seem to understand is that company that Ken Griffin owns, they employ thousands of people. They pay billions of dollars in taxes to the city of New York. The amount of philanthropy that Ken Griffin gives to various charities all over New York City, this is hundreds of millions of dollars.
$650 million.
$650 million in charitable contributions. Do you know how many nonprofit organizations rely on $650 million in contributions? And this idiot wants to chase all of the wealthy people out of New York. It's insane. I mean, and mind you, this is a district where they pay $25,000 a kid for shitty public schools.
Yeah.
Point.
But and also, I mean, it was it's dangerous too that he was in front of his house, and you know, telling everybody this rich bastard needs to pay his taxes, and you just had the United Healthcare guy murdered
Right.
a few blocks away. So we shouldn't be inciting that kind of
Absolutely not.
hatred.
Absolutely not. I mean, it is inciting violence and hatred. It's not healthy. It's not helpful.
What Google
Well,
facts do
It's
you
not
have over there,
smart.
Jason?
Well, let's stay on topic here.
Uh-oh. he found something.
And, according to chat, which we just
I was just about to ask, was it ChatGPT that you got this from?
according to Reuters, Citadel said its principals and employees paid nearly 2.3 billion in New York City and state taxes
Yeah, okay.
over 5 years. And employees. So this is not just the company.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Because
Reporting-
they employ
okay,
thousands
all
of
right,
people.
That's what John said, though. Yeah, they
Reporting,
employ people.
reporting based on IRS data,
So if,
elite
they,
IRS
if,
data.
they, if Citadel leaves New York, which this
Okay,
encourages them to do,
all the people not leaving. All the people not leaving.
okay, but all
Okay.
those well-paying jobs will be gone.
No, they'll find jobs. That's fine. But let's keep going.
You don't know.
Ken Griffin personally paid an average federal effective tax rate of 29.2%.
Yeah.
That's a low rate for a billionaire, wouldn't you say?
As you and I have discussed
We are-
many times before,
Oh Lord.
very wealthy people,
So-
they don't take a lot in salary. They pay capital.
they take a
pay-
lot of salary.
They pay capital gains taxes.
It passes through the hedge funds and their
No,
companies into their pocket.
No. So,
That's what-
so,
so let me
so,
just-
no, so his salary, so for whatever salary wages he has, he's paying 39%, like the rest of the 1%.
No.
Hold on.
29.2%, which we pay, you and I.
Hold on. But most of his money, most of the money that he's making, it's through capital gains. So he's paying the 20% capital gains tax. So if you average that out, that's how they come up with 29.2%.
So anyway, he pays what we pay.
I
And
know
he
that.
has
I'm
a-
not a math whiz.
He pays what we pay, and he has a $238 million apartment. That's all I'm saying.
Kevin, we've
They
talked
are
about
not
this.
fairly
And
taxed.
Listen,
donating
I'm not
$650
saying you
million.
gotta help make
Listen.
them pay
Well,
for everything,
you-
but Jesus, pay your fair
Do
share.
you know that
My
you
God.
know that
So
regular
then he's
people also
donating
pay capital
$650
gains
And the
tax?
chat said we don't really know what they pay because this stuff is all pretty much hidden.
Listen. I mean, so you lose the $2 billion in taxes to New
No,
York
you
City.
won't lose $2 billion.
You
All
lose
those
the
people are not
you lose
leaving
the-
New
You
York.
lose the $650 million
But
in
those
charitable
high-paying
contributions.
jobs will be leaving New
And you
York.
also, and the guy's also about to invest $6 billion in New York City. Now, after Mandami publicly shamed him, you think Ken
And-
Griffin really wants to invest $6
Well,
billion in New York City?
It's all chatter.
That's crazy.
It's all chatter.
My only
plenty of
question-
companies have are moving because of these kinds of things.
My only
Well, they're
question
just
is,
going to another state. They give another state a boost.
Well, they're not
That's
going
fine.
to tell you where they're
No
not
big deal.
going. They
Okay,
won't be
but
going
it's
to
Mom
California.
Dummy.
if the
Is that
wealth
good
tax
for New York
passes.
as mayor of New York?
Yeah.
Well.
I mean, New York and California, there are fiscal train wrecks, which is why people are leaving there.
Well, my honest opinion, the people who make money there, they'll be there. That's what they do. Banks are there, money is there, hedge funds are there, the market is there. He's not leaving.
No, he can move his company. To
He's
somewhere
not
else.
leaving. He's not going anywhere.
Kevin,
Doing
He'll be
that.
right
Kevin,
People are
Ken
moving
Griffin.
their
Ken
companies.
Griffin was Citadel was headquartered in Chicago, another train wreck state. He moved the headquarters
moved.
out of Chicago and sent it to Florida.
Well,
You know,
Go to Texas.
which is governed in
Yeah.
a sensible way.
we'll go to Texas.
you all's attention is on the wrong thing. How many bedrooms is in this $236
I have
million
no idea.
apartment? That's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I need
It's
I
absolutely
need to
ridiculous.
look
I
at
don't
the
even know how you do
21st
that.
century lifestyles of the rich and famous, now, you know, so I can figure out what
Look.
this thing looks like. At any rate,
Anyway,
all right. Well, happy trails. We've completed another podcast.
Another episode.
We've solved a few problems,
Please.
and we've created new ones.
please like and subscribe. Hit
Like
the
and
comment.
subscribe.
And comment.
Comment. Send in your comments.
Send in your comments. Send in your thoughts.
Yeah.
Tell John he's
Tell Kevin how
crazy.
wrong he is.